Hello, welcome to the Sunday, October 4th, 2020 meeting of the Natural Rights Sangha. It's hard to believe it's already October in 2020, the craziest year that I've ever lived through, or at least lived through so far. I thought 1968 was wild. I was a little then, but I still remember Robert Kennedy being killed, and Martin Luther King being killed, and riots in the streets, and the Vietnam War protest, and the Black Lives Matter protests, but they weren't called that back then. But it's amazing how history repeats itself, isn't it? And we don't learn, it seems. Let's start with our meditation. So please set your timer. Please set it for 10 or 12, or however many minutes you wish. And I will say, let's begin, and then please turn off this video and then meditate until the timer goes off. Now, of course, we tend to meditate with mindfulness meditation, which is just simply clearing the mind of actively thinking. If thoughts come, we just let them go. One way to do it is to focus on the breath coming into the nose and just focusing on inhale, exhale. Sit with a good posture, sit straight, feet flat, probably not crossed is best. Hands in any reasonable position that you like, with as far as the fingers. There are reasons for each finger position, but whatever feels comfortable is fine. So, uh, again, I'm on the road, so no worries. There won't be a gong, but that's fine. So let's begin. Welcome back. One reason that I don't turn off my video and restart it is if you hit it wrong, it splits. It becomes two videos like happened back in July with one of our meetings. And I don't want to do that by accident. And I don't want to be sitting here squinting and looking at the thing. So I just let it roll. Sometimes I have long pauses because of that. So please excuse it. It's more of a courtesy to you and to me to not stop it and restart it just in case I screw up like that. I'm laughing because today I drove all the way to Toledo, Ohio from St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. This is about an 11-hour drive. At the speed limit. I wasn't speeding and I wasn't dawdling. I was within 5 miles an hour of the speed limit. Either way, the whole way. And didn't stop for much. Stopped for gas a few times. That was about it, really. And I just chose to stop in Toledo because I would have gone almost 12 hours, but 11 to drive in, 45 stopped for various reasons. And it was a nice central place between the two big cities of Chicago and Cleveland. So I go into a Subway restaurant to buy a sandwich for my dinner. Not the most appetizing thing, but better than what else seemed to be around. And I'd seen a lot of police and a lot of red lights and a lot of people in the shadows watching in the streets and all this. And I mentioned to the girl, "Oh, I've never been to Toledo before. Fun place, nice place. And she looked at me and said, it's a crazy place. I went, crazy in what way? She said, bad. I went, oh, great. What do you mean? And she said, oh, robbery, shootings, murders. And great. And I'm here for the night. And she laughed and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just staying in my motel peacefully and parking my van out in front. And she said, oh, you'll be fine. Most of the murders happen around drug deals and stuff like that. Is Toledo known for this? She goes, this is Toledo. I'm going, whoa. I mean, I guess being from the West Coast, I wasn't aware of Toledo's reputation. So, well, a quick aside, Toledo, Spain is a very different place, at least in my experience. I've had some wonderful times in Toledo, Spain. From Madrid, Toledo is a train ride south and a little bit to the west. There's some beautiful train destinations around Madrid, Segovia and Toledo and Avila. Oh my God, just those three alone make, if you have a Eurail pass and you're in Madrid, you can take day trips to those three places and have just a superbly wonderful time. Highly recommended if we can ever travel again from America. Another little aside, today I was talking to one of our board members, Kalidas, who is still in India because he and his gal Eureka cannot leave because they canceled all the flights. And right now, if they were to leave, Eureka would have to go to Japan and Kalidas to Germany, and they couldn't be together in either place. And they'd like to be together, so they're extending in India as long as India will let them. And Kalidas smiled and said, well, there are 4 countries in the world that let anybody come. Just have a passport, you show up and you can stay. Maybe you pay a little bit for a visa or something. And I said, wow, what are those? And he said, Mexico, Brazil, Jamaica, and Albania. And I went, Mexico, Brazil, Jamaica, and Albania. I said, what does this mean? And he laughed and he said, well, think about it. Those are governments who are mostly interested in money. And the tourists bring money. And they're not worried about a virus killing off some people, especially since there'll be poor people in their country. They just want money to come. And I went, whoa, that's an interesting analysis. Um, so if you want to travel now, Americans, 4 countries will take us. Mexico, Brazil, Albania, and Jamaica. No one else wants us. Yes, it's quite an interesting time. Yeah. Now our members who are part of the EU, very lucky people. Oh, Maria, and others, very nice for you. You can still go to other places. But I'm on my trip around America, uh, doing my job, my non-natural rights Sangha job, but I don't consider this a job. This is an avocation, not a vocation. And hearing that tonight about the town in which I'm staying, the city in which I'm staying, brought to mind something that is inherent to our precepts, and that is fear. A lot of people spend their whole lives scared, worried about making mistakes and being judged harshly, worried about someone hurting them physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, in any way, professionally. One huge difference between the regular person and people like the Buddha or Ramana Maharshi, or Nisargadatta Maharaj, or persons of this ilk, is that They had no fear. Once they reached the point where they were one with all that is, which we all are, but they were all the time and consciously so, and beyond consciously so. What was for them to fear? No. Did they suffer pain? Oh, God, yes. Nisargadatta died of horrible throat cancer. And he even admitted, yes, this body feels pain, but the real me doesn't. Ramana died of a type of bone cancer that started in his arm. Oh, Krishnamurti died of cancer also, a long death. The Buddha apparently died of food poisoning. And the story goes that he knew it was poison but ate it anyway. And the reasons for that, there are various ones given. Some people have wondered, is that a cover up for he was really poisoned by a jealous competitor in the spiritual teachings or something? We can't know. We can't know. But pain in the world, again, did these people fear that? No. Did they fear death? Absolutely not. Did they know what they would do in the next moment? No. Nisargadatta said, if there was a fire next door, I might run out and become a hero and save a girl from the flames, or I might run down the alley screaming and panting. He had no idea what would happen until the time came. And no matter what it was he did, whether he gained acclaim in the world or opprobrium in the world, it would all be the same to him. Although I do believe Nisargadatta was making a point with what he said, and I would like to believe that being of a type of person who would feel for someone about to burn to death, he would have done his best to save the girl. I believe he would have done that. I know this when Ramana Maharshi was living on the mountain, and a woman who was living in a cave near him as a sort of disciple to him, although he never actually took official disciples or followers. Someone broke into her cave with obvious intent to steal. And she screamed, and Ramana heard the scream, and he came running. He came running, and the robber had run away, and Ramana didn't see him. So he said, "Why did you scream?" She said, "There was a robber." He said, "Where?" And she said, "Well," and he says, "Are you sure there was really someone here, or were you dreaming?" And then he looked around and he saw a couple of things had been disturbed, and he went, "Oh, okay, I see there was actually someone here." And but he came running to help. Another time, people broke into the ashram once the ashram was bigger, and some of Ramana's followers said, "Oh, we should go get them." Ramana said, "You are sadhus. They are robbers. They are doing what they're supposed to do. Now, you are sadhus. You are holy men. You do what you're supposed to do." What was Ramana worried about it? No, not at all. There was a great master who had a follower on Hawaii, one of the islands of Hawaii, who, and this follower was very well to do. And the master had never asked him why he had so much money and could fly in and stay in these nice hotels and be close to him all the time. But it turns out that the man was a marijuana grower on Hawaii. Well, one day when this master had come to Hawaii, they gave he had a satsang. Uh, in a place down the valley, and he came out. He just looked up. He said, "What's up there?" And the guy kind of, mm, "Oh, some of my land. I'd like to see it." "Oh, well, sir, it's I'd like to see it." And so he took him up there and some other people. Well, this was the guy's marijuana field. And he had ferocious guard dogs inside an electrified fence. And these dogs are just horrifying things that are just wanting to eat something, and and all the guys are standing, all the people, I think most of the guys are standing back like, holy crap. And the master, without any fear at all, just walked up to them. And basically, I'm paraphrasing, and he said, "Oh, nice puppies." And within seconds, he had moved through somehow the fence, and they were on their backs like this, and he's scratching their bellies. And the man is looking in shock. He's going, "You've ruined my dogs. They aren't going to be good guard dogs anymore." And the master said, "No, no, they'll be okay. They'll be what you want them to be once I'm gone." And he said, "But really, you might want to think about changing your profession." That's all he said. Now, I don't know whether this was a judgment of growing marijuana or whether it was he could see that there was a bust coming up if the guy stayed in the business and he'd end up in jail or what. I don't know. I didn't hear that part of the story. But the master was fearless and full of oneness with all that was, and the dogs recognized that. Another master I know of, a Zen Buddhist master, was teaching his student in in Oregon actually, and he was a small man and he had a limp, and he was actually suffering from what would prove to be a fatal disease. But he was also a master martial artist of incredible skill, and but he had no fear of anything. Not because he was a great martial artist, but because he was a true master. Well, so my friend was his student, and they were walking and they came across this biker bar, and these big tough bikers are out there. Here come these two guys that kind of look new agey and certainly not like bikers. And my friend kind of went, "Oh shoot, what's going to happen?" Well, his master, who was half the size of any of these big guys, just walked up and smiled and started talking to him. And pretty soon they were conversing like old friends. And just and as they walked away, the master said, "If you have no fear, there is nothing to fear." Well, in our precepts, fear is a factor in many of them. You know, to not harm any living thing, even if we're scared of it. Okay, that's hard. It's easy to kill a snake that might bite you. It's easy to hit a dog that's trying to do something to you. Where do you draw these lines? And to protect people, someone's being hurt by two big bullies and it's you and this person is being hurt there. It'd be easy to be scared to interfere. Now, on the highest level, there's nothing. Now, are we all there yet? That could be a different story, but we endeavor to do this. This is where we endeavor to be. Don't kick yourself in the butt if you're not, but keep it as a focus. And as I've said before, if everyone on the planet lived by the precepts, God, it would be just a wonderful place, wouldn't it? Mm. If you would like me to do more with people like Spinoza as I did last week, please let me know. I myself am personally interested in Meister Eckhart and a few other people of a similar ilk and we'll likely bring them in the future. But if you have any specific questions or comments or things you'd like to have discussed or gone over or followed through with, please do let me know at mark@naturalrightsong.org. Okay, so I will finish this meeting in the apparently incredibly dangerous city of Toledo, Ohio, where bullets might come shooting through the window at any time, according to this woman at the restaurant. I'm thinking she was exaggerating just a bit. Well, we'll finish this meeting with the Four Immeasurables. Okay, so the first time we do it will be for ourselves. So please repeat after me. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May I reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. So the second time we'll do it, it'll be for we, the we you choose. All the sentient beings in the universe, all of your friends and family, all the people you've got trouble with, and you're hoping they come to the light, at least in regards to your interactions with them in the world, or whoever we is for you. May we have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May we reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Okay. Well, thank you for having uh, partook of the meeting this week, of this week's meeting. And may all go well for you as the crazy world continues to do its things. Call it Maya, call it Leela, call it Samsara. Leela is the happiest of the three when we talk about the relative world, the apparent relative world. It means it's a playful thing. Maya and Samsara have more serious tones. Normally, when we use them, I know one spiritual teacher who was asked, "Who are you really?" She says, "I'm a Leela," meaning I play. Now I know she's pretty serious sometimes and has a temper, so it doesn't always seem like she's playing. That's how she likes to see herself. And I'd much rather be a Leela than to be a Samsara or a Maya. Not that that really makes sense. Well, hey, well, thank you for coming this week and enjoy keeping the precepts and endeavoring to keep the precepts. Blessings.